Our conditions remaining bearish, majority bearish with 14 on S&P 500 on the daily time frame and 14 on the 1 hour time frame. Starting to see or continuing to see that trend, this shorter term trend really fanning out, really expanding right here. And we're seeing the overall market really deteriorating right here. We're approaching a new demand block right here around that 5512 area. That's also the 618 retracement on S&P 500 for this trend time frame that you can see on the chart right here, from this low in August to the most recent high. Slid through that 50% range yesterday, and now approaching the 618 retracement. That has also been a location of some demand prior. The overhead supply block now is going to be this area. So we've now got a couple of different areas of supply, a couple areas of resistance for the market to have to fight through to continue to trend higher. So conditions still bearish, oversold right here. We could see a bounce at these levels. We're actually seeing futures up slightly this morning at 0.80. You can see over here on the daily time frame what that starts to look like when we start to get really spread out right here, really fanned out. We start to bottom, start to work its way back towards at least the longer term trend. So we could rally back up and attempt some of these upper ranges right here that we have now broken down through on S&P 500. If we take a look at the breadth really got hit yesterday, back down to 32. So continuing to see that slide. We saw this compression of trend. Could start to see that be an expansion of trend now. This range can go all the way down to that 10 area on the really deeply oversold, and on the upper end, that's 80. So we're kind of we're working in this downtrend. 30 basically means that 70% of stocks in the S&P 500 are trading below their 50-day, or 32% are trading above their 50-day. So we're just seeing the majority of stocks trending lower on S&P 500. In this case, 30% of those are in uptrends, 70% in downtrends. We're seeing VIX, the last 4 or 5 hours of trading activity starting to pull back in. When we get that really expanded area, now it's just starting to work its way back in again. We've also had pretty aggressive selling here the last few days, really across the board. We could get a little bit of reprieve here. We've got some numbers coming out here in about 10 minutes. We'll see what those end up doing. Those numbers are, we've got core inflation coming out, and those will definitely be numbers that'll move the market depending on what they are. We've got PPI coming out tomorrow, Michigan sentiment coming out. So some inflation and consumer numbers coming out here in the next few hours, and a little bit more tomorrow as well. Let's take a look at the short end of the yield curve. SHY continuing to have that overall uptrend theme to it, with a little bit of pullback right here, moving back up into that bullish zone on the 1 hour time frame. TLT retracing back down just a little bit here in the last session, still working towards this overall uptrend, but it is also still in this longer term downtrend on bonds for TLT, the long end of that yield curve. 2-year rates, 397, holding a little bit right here at this level. A little bit of bullishness taking place there on that 2-year note. And 10-year also looking at 430, majority bearish still, but having a little bit of a rally to the upside. So as those bonds are pulling back, interest rates rising just a little bit, and part of this may be because of this number that we're going to get here shortly. Dow Jones Industrial Average dropping down below its really large demand block right here, and now attempting that 410, that 618 retracement. So markets are at an area. We're starting to continue to break down. These are right at the very edge of that counter trend corrective zone, which is that 618 area, and we just had a pretty big aggressive trend shift at these levels. We're seeing triple Qs also doing the same thing, sitting right back down at this range. So pretty aggressive selling. We could see again this rally. I'd be watching for it to be counter trend at these levels. IWM Russell 2000 also in its demand block, oversold, and similar pattern to the others. USO oil continuing to have its sell-off right here as well. Potentially could test that 67.50 range, that 70 range. It's also oversold. Could see a bounce here in oil. Gold and silver both holding up pretty nicely the last couple of days. And gold moving back up into that 268 range for GLD. And silver getting a pretty nice looking confirmation bar here Could see some expansion out of SLV, just expansion of trend, continuing to move to this overall upside. This becomes the bias direction, and any kind of pullback with that overall upslope still is looking for more upside, particularly here now that we've got this crossover back of bullish trend and compression, first real pullback after that compression starting to fan out now on SLV. Let's take a look at a couple of stock ideas for today. Big nice confirmation bar on HSAI, big volume, moving back into momentum. Company in the self-driving LiDAR space had some good earnings. Also seeing ARIS in the water space, water utility space, having nice confirmation here, increased volume. And so there are a few things out there that are working, still in momentum, and those are a couple for you to consider today. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.